Hey y'all, it's Mr. J. We're going to do another writing exercise. This one is all based on a particular book by Marion Winik. It's called the Glen Rock Book of the Dead. I can't recommend the whole book enough. You can order it from Amazon or get it from your local library. You might even be able to get a digital version of the book. This arrow is pointing down because there's an excerpt in the comments section. Actually, the description of this video. It's a link to Marion Winik's website, and you can read along with me. I'm going to read you an excerpt from the book in a little bit. So if you want to kind of have two things open at once, go ahead and go to that description of this video. Find the link to the excerpt and open that up. Before I start reading from the Glen Rock Book of the Dead, I wanted to tell you a little bit first about the book itself and kind of how it's organized. This is a description that's on that same website, and it's part of it is included in the actual book. It's a really unique book, and I think it's something that you might consider working on for yourself while you're at home. You can do a little bit of it, you can do a lot of it, or you could just kind of really get into it. So in her author's note, Marion Winik writes that in Mexico, on the Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos, which I bet some of you have celebrated, people build altars to their loved ones. They go to the cemetery and stay all night, praying, singing, drinking, wailing. They tell the sad stories and the noble ones. They eat cookies shaped like skeletons. They celebrate and mourn at once. So that's Dia de los Muertos. Striking that balance, Marion Winik's book, The Glen Rock Book of the Dead, presents snapshot portraits of the jeweler, the driving instructor, the bad influence, the Queen of New Jersey, and roughly 50 others who have touched the author's life, from her son's second grade teacher to the artist Keith Haring. So the way this whole Book of the Dead is arranged is basically Marion Winik made a list of all of the people in her life. She's from Austin, she lived in Austin at the time that she wrote this book, and I think she might still live in Austin, but she made a list of all the people who she's met who have now passed, who have now died. And from that list, she started, one at a time, writing a small description of each of those people. And some of those descriptions are pretty detailed and pretty emotional because, I don't want to spoil anything, but, one of the people on that list is one of her parents. And, there was a young ex-boyfriend, who died suddenly when she was very young. And, depending on how old you are or what your experience with death is like, you might have a completely different reaction. Sometimes somebody who you're not even very close to, but you sort of know, maybe you've met them, their death might have a kind of, much more significant impact on your life than, say, someone who actually is a part of your family. We all experience grief and tragedy in our lives, and I think writing, especially creative writing, is a place that you can always turn to express your feelings and to kind of record the important aspects of your life. So this is a kind of serious topic that I think I'd be, happy to kind of guide you through. The book is organized, she gives everybody these, instead of using their real names, she gives them little titles like, sometimes it's their job, like the realtor or the eye doctor. There's that one that I just mentioned in the description, that's the Queen of New Jersey. Now, obviously, New Jersey is one of the United States. It doesn't have a queen. So sometimes they're kind of funny names like that. You can do that part, or you could just kind of title it that person's name, whoever you want to write about. But the first step is definitely making that list. Take some time to think about it and just start listing the people that you can remember who are no longer here. And then you're going to go and pick one of these people to start with. And that's totally up to you. It could be somebody, it could be the person who died most recently on the list. It could be one of the people who's closest to you. It could be the very first time anybody in your life died, at whatever age you were. And you could write about them. Doesn't matter to me. Pick one of the people on the list and plan on writing something about them. Now, if we're going to use Marion Winik as a model, I think we should look at an example. But I just want to give you a couple more parameters for the one that, if your teacher is going to allow you to turn this in as an assignment or extra credit or something, I think you should plan on writing between 300 and 500 words about this person, all right? That's not too long. It's not like a full-fledged essay, but I think it's enough to kind of get a feel for, how this person touched your life, what they were like, and what you might have to say about them now, all right? So let me quickly read you that excerpt. I'm only going to read one, but there are more on this webpage if you want to look at more. And as always, I recommend you getting the book. So scroll all the way down to that link if you have it open. This one is called The Realtor, and The Realtor died in 2006. If you live long enough, life sends you plenty of indignities to rise above. Hangovers, cheap workmanship, the faithlessness of men, the death of loved ones, the signs of aging, the vicious pettiness of people when it comes to real estate. You must focus instead on the joy. To sail through life as she did requires a rare combination of high standards, low expectations, and undimmed enthusiasm. A thick, tough, yet beautifully moisturized and preternaturally radiant skin. The first time I saw her at a party, a tiny woman with a big Texas accent and a fine purple wool coat, it was clear she had it all figured out. I asked for her card. It said realtor, but might as well have been realist. For many years, it remained in my pocket, an ace in the hole. When we got into so much trouble selling my house, a crazy mess of misunderstandings and buyer's remorse that spawned a lawsuit of Dickensian absurdity, she took it in stride. She knew the exact way to manage these things: big smile, great insurance, leopard print suit, and high-heeled boots. This was a gal who had twirled flaming batons for Wetumpka High. But our day in court would never come. Instead, a stupid settlement that gave me a permanent rankle in my justice bone. Ah, let it go, honey, she told me. The house is crooked. You're not. She opened a bottle of wine she and her writer husband had brought back from Europe, and we drank it in her cool, leafy backyard. They tell me all about him, she said, meaning the guy I was moving across the country for. She knew there was little that can't be fixed by a glass of Bordeaux and a juicy love story. I'm going to let you finish that on your own because I'm kind of running out of time here. But I think that's enough for you to kind of get a sense of Marion Winik's style when she writes these entries into her Book of the Dead. She's not afraid to be funny. She's not afraid to give, details that really kind of encapsulate the person's uniqueness and personality. In fact, I think that's what she's aiming for. She's trying to kind of bring these people back to life. And as writers, the way that we do that, the way that we bring a person to life, any person or any character to life on the page, is we use a lot of really specific detail. And it's really helpful, I think, to be thinking of one very particular person. Think about, what did their face look like? What kinds of things did they wear? Think about the leopard suit of the realtor and the high-heeled boots. Things that really sort of give you a picture of their personality, and I think you would want to include those. And also maybe tell a little story, a little anecdote about like the time that you met them and the kinds of things that you did together. 300 to 500 words, and give it a shot. And once you've done one of these, why not do more?